Hey everyone! Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try, some of your relationships just don't seem to work out? You're doing everything you think you should, being kind, supportive, and attentive, but somehow things still fall apart. Well, guess what? You might be making some very common mistakes that are unknowingly pushing women away. But don't worry, because today, we're diving deep into the 11 mistakes that could be sabotaging your chances, and more importantly, how to avoid them to win her heart. If you're tired of feeling stuck or frustrated in your love life, stick around, because what I'm about to share with you will change the way you approach relationships forever. All right, let's get into it. Mistake 1, constantly worshiping her. Let's start with the big one, constantly worshiping her. Now I know what you're thinking. What's wrong with showing your partner a lot of love and appreciation? Absolutely nothing. But there's a fine line between showing affection and putting someone on a pedestal. When you constantly shower her with compliments and attention, it might seem like you're being the perfect partner, but here's the catch: this behavior can come off as needy or even desperate. Think about it this way: when you make someone feel like they're the center of your universe, it can create an unhealthy dynamic where she becomes the prize and you become the chaser. And while it might feel good at first to be adored, over time it can actually start to feel overwhelming or even suffocating. Women, like everyone, are attracted to confidence, and when you put her on that pedestal, you might inadvertently be showing a lack of self-confidence. So what should you do instead? Show appreciation, but keep it balanced. Compliment her, but don't overdo it. Let her know she's important to you, but make sure you're also focusing on your own life, your own goals, and your own happiness. A healthy relationship is one where both partners feel valued, but also where both partners maintain their own sense of self. A mistake 2, agreeing with everything she says. But next up, let's talk about agreeing with everything she says. This one's tricky because, on the surface, it seems like being agreeable would be a good thing, right? You want to show that you're supportive and that you're on the same page. But here's where it gets complicated: when you agree with her all the time, you're not being authentic. Imagine this: every time she expresses an opinion, you nod along enthusiastically, even if deep down you don't really agree. Over time, this can lead to a lack of genuine communication in your relationship. Why? Because you're not really engaging in a meaningful exchange of ideas, you're just going along with whatever she says. This can make it seem like you don't have your own opinions, or that you're afraid to speak up. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect. And part of that respect comes from being able to communicate openly and honestly, even when you disagree. It's okay to have different opinions. In fact, it's important to have your own voice. When you're able to respectfully disagree, you're showing that you're confident in your own beliefs, and that confidence is attractive. So, next time she says something you don't entirely agree with, don't just nod along. Engage in the conversation. Share your thoughts. Respectful debates can actually bring you closer together and help build a deeper connection. In mistake 3, being too compliant. Now, this leads us to mistake number 3, being too compliant. We've all heard that relationships are about compromise, and that's true to an extent. But there's a difference between healthy compromise and being so compliant that you lose sight of your own needs and desires. Here's what happens when you're too compliant: you start to become a pushover. And while you might think that always giving in to what she wants is a way to keep the peace, it can actually have the opposite effect. So when you never stand up for yourself or express your own needs, you're sending a message that your thoughts and feelings don't matter as much as hers. Over time, this can lead to a loss of respect, and respect is crucial in any relationship. So, how do you strike the right balance? It's all about mutual respect and open communication. It's okay to say no sometimes. It's okay to express your opinions and to stand up for what you believe in. In fact, it's necessary. A strong relationship is one where both partners feel comfortable being themselves and where both partners feel heard and respected. Mistake 4, confusing loyalty with love. Another common mistake is confusing loyalty with love. This one can be particularly tricky because loyalty is such a valued trait in relationships. But here's the thing: loyalty shouldn't mean sacrificing who you are. In many relationships, People equate loyalty with staying silent, going along with things they're not comfortable with, or even staying in a relationship that's not healthy. But true loyalty isn't about blind devotion. It's about being there for each other, while also being true to yourself. When you suppress your true feelings or go against your values in the name of loyalty, you're not really being loyal to yourself or your partner. You're just avoiding conflict. But avoiding conflict doesn't make a relationship stronger. In fact, it can slowly erode the connection you have. So what should you do instead? Be loyal, yes, but also be honest. Speak up when something bothers you. Don't be afraid to express your needs and boundaries. Real love and loyalty are built on mutual respect and understanding, not on self-sacrifice. Mistake 5, obsessing over text messages. Let's shift gears and talk about a very modern-day issue, obsessing over text messages. We live in a world where instant communication is the norm. And it's easy to get caught up in the cycle of constantly checking your phone, waiting for her reply, and feeling anxious if you don't hear back right away. But here's the problem: when you're too focused on texting, it can come across as desperate or needy. Now, don't get me wrong, texting is a great way to stay connected. But when you're always the one initiating the conversation, sending multiple messages in a row, or feeling anxious if she doesn't reply immediately, you're not giving her the space to miss you. Women, like everyone else, are attracted to people who have a sense of purpose and independence. So, instead of obsessing over every text, take a step back. Focus on your own life. Let her come to you sometimes. It's okay to take your time replying to messages. In fact, it can make you seem more confident and self-assured, which are very attractive qualities. Remember, a text message is just one part of your relationship. What really matters is how you connect in person and how you make her feel when you're together. Mistake 6, constantly complimenting her appearance. Now let's talk about compliments specifically. Constantly complimenting her appearance. Compliments are great. Everyone loves to feel appreciated. But when your compliments are always focused on how she looks, it can start to feel shallow or insincere. But here's the thing: while it's nice to hear that you look good, if that's the only thing you're complimenting, it can give the impression that you're more interested in her looks than in who she is as a person. Plus, if you're constantly showering her with compliments about her appearance, it can come off as trying too hard to win her approval. So what should you do? Mix it up. Compliment her on her personality, her intelligence, her sense of humor, things that go beyond just the surface. This shows that you're paying attention to who she really is, and that's much more meaningful. For example, instead of just saying, "You look beautiful," you could say, "I really admire how confident you are," or "You have such a great sense of humor, I love that about you." These kinds of compliments are deeper and show that you're genuinely interested in her as a person. Mistake 7, accepting bad behavior without consequences. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is accepting bad behavior without consequences. Sometimes, out of fear of conflict or losing the relationship, you might let things slide that really shouldn't. But here's the problem: when you allow behavior to go unchecked, you're not just hurting yourself, you're also hurting the relationship. Here's why: by not addressing issues when they arise, you're essentially saying that it's okay for your partner to treat you poorly. This can lead to resentment, which is one of the biggest relationship killers. Plus, when bad behavior is tolerated, it often escalates. So, what's the solution? Set clear boundaries and stick to them. If something bothers you, speak up calmly and respectfully, of course. Let your partner know what your boundaries are and what the consequences will be if they're crossed. This doesn't mean being harsh or punitive. It's about respecting yourself enough to stand up for what you deserve. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and that means holding each other accountable for your actions. When you enforce your boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also fostering a relationship that's based on respect and trust. Mistake 8, losing yourself in a relationship. Mistake number 8 is a big one: losing yourself in the relationship. When you're in love, it's easy to become so absorbed in a partner that you start to neglect your own needs, interests, and identity. But here's the thing: losing yourself in a relationship isn't romantic, it's unhealthy. When you give up your hobbies, stop seeing your friends, or put your own goals on hold for the sake of the relationship, you're setting yourself up for problems down the line. But not only can this lead to resentment, but it can also create an unhealthy dependency on your partner. It's essential to maintain a sense of individuality in any relationship. This means continuing to pursue your own interests, spending time with your friends, and making time for yourself. Our healthy relationship is one where both partners support each other's growth and encourage each other to be the best version of themselves. So, take a step back and ask yourself, are you still making time for the things that make you happy? Are you still pursuing your goals? If not, it might be time to reevaluate how much of yourself you're giving up for the relationship. It's mistake 9, rushing into commitment. Another mistake that can push women away is rushing into commitment. When you're really into someone, it's natural to want to make things official as soon as possible. But here's the problem: rushing into commitment can create unnecessary pressure and might even scare her off. Relationships need time to grow and develop naturally. When you push for commitment too soon, it can come across as needy or controlling. It's important to give the relationship space to breathe and to let things progress at their own pace. So instead of rushing into things, focus on building a strong foundation. Spend time getting to know each other, building trust, and enjoying each other's company. Commitment will come naturally when the time is right, and it will be much stronger and more meaningful when it's based on a solid connection. Mistake 10, neglecting personal growth. One of the most important things you can do in a relationship is to continue growing as an individual. But unfortunately, one of the biggest mistakes people make is neglecting their personal growth once they're in a relationship. Here's the thing: women are attracted to men who are driven, passionate, and constantly striving to improve themselves. When you stop pursuing your goals and stop working on yourself, you're not just hurting yourself, you're also hurting the relationship. Personal growth is essential for a healthy relationship because it keeps things interesting. When both partners are growing and evolving, the relationship grows and evolves as well. So, make sure you're continuing to pursue your passion, setting new goals, and constantly challenging yourself to be better. Mistake 11, betraying your core principles. Finally, the last mistake is betraying your core principles. In the desire to make a relationship work, it can be tempting to compromise on your values. But here's the problem: when you betray your core principles, you're not just hurting yourself, you're also damaging the relationship. Your values are a fundamental part of who you are, and when you compromise on them, you're essentially compromising your integrity. This can lead to resentment and a loss of self-respect, both of which are toxic to a relationship. It's essential to stay true to who you are, even if it means facing difficult conversations or even risking the relationship. A strong, healthy relationship is one where both partners respect each other's values and encourage each other to stay true to themselves. So there you have it, the 11 mistakes that could be pushing women away and how to avoid them. Remember, relationships are about balance, respect, and authenticity. By avoiding these common pitfalls, you'll be well on your way to building stronger, healthier, and more fulfilling connections. But before you go, I want to hear from you. Which of these mistakes surprised you the most? Or do you have any tips of your own to share? Drop a comment below, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. See you in the next video.